mate. Apologies.
I thought you were quitting on me.
No. Hey, thanks for changing yesterday. Sorry, I had to see a family member, but I just got carried away. I had a haircut today, and then I felt good, so I hit the gym. And sorry.
Not a problem. No, listen, I appreciate you giving us this time. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Can you hear me?
Good. All good, brother. All good.
First thing I wanted to ask is, how's everything obviously been going?
Can you hear me?
I know New Zealand's been a bit different from over here in the UK. It looks like it's been run really well. Have you enjoyed spending time with the family and stuff like that?
I'm having a great time with the family. Before the second lockdown, my schedule started filling up, training, visiting schools, doing stuff in the community. So the lockdown has sort of brought me back to what's important, and that's spending time with family, kids, my partner. And so I'm grateful for the lockdown. I'm not grateful for the situation, but I'm grateful for the lockdown, spending time with the family.
Right. Another thing you've been doing in lockdown, these videos. Now, we don't normally see this side of boxers and fighters. We normally have, obviously, all the serious fight talk during fight week. Whose idea is it to come up with all these comedy sketch videos that you've done? Is this something you've been just done off your own back, or where's this come from?
So initially, when the first lockdown hit us here in New Zealand, and I think it hit you guys at the same time, it was mostly just to spread positive vibes, to get to lift spirits, because it was a hard time for a lot of people staying home, and to show everyone that even though you're at home, you can have fun. And then from there, I think the reaction and the support from the first video encouraged us to do more. And I think we're going to continue to do it because it's a lot of fun. And it's actually showing who I really am as a person. You know, I love to have fun, have a laugh, you know, and it's showing a different side.
You've experienced being a world champion. You know, you're performing at the highest level all the time. What does it mean to you to become world champion again? And, you know, you represent, obviously, your Samoan heritage.
So it was I was a world champion at 24 years old, and it was a great feeling because I did it for New Zealand, some more, did it for my family, my parents, coach. Mm-hmm. It was a great feeling, but I feel like I'm a lot more driven now than the first time I got the world title. I feel like my motivation is right up there. I'm driven. For me, it'll be a dream come true to win it 2 times.
Brilliant.
You know, for the second time, because now I won it solely for myself.
Yeah. Brilliant. What I was going to ask you, obviously, one of the biggest shocks in the heavyweight division recently, the last couple of weeks, Dillian Whyte suffered, you know, a major, you know, I suppose it was an upset win against that Alexander Povetkin. Did that come as a surprise to you, or was that something that, you know, Povetkin went into that sort of half being written off by a lot of people, but, you know, he's quite experienced and very skilled Olympian. Did that come as a surprise to you?
It came as a surprise to me, the end result. You know, as you were watching and seeing that Whyte was controlling the fight from the beginning until he got caught with the left uppercut. And I guess it shows that saying is true where, you know, one punch can change a whole fight, but also power in the heavyweight is probably one of the last things that leaves them. Yeah. You know, Povetkin displayed that against Whyte. Yeah.
You've had sort of 3 major sort of pay-per-view fights over here in the UK. Obviously, you had the one with Hughie Fury first in Manchester. You then went on to fight Anthony Joshua in a huge event, and then Dillian Whyte. Is fighting in the UK something you're wanting to do, you know, as soon as travel restrictions sort of lift and things like that? Are you wanting to come over here, or are you going to be based more US and sort of wherever?
Yeah, I love fighting here back home in New Zealand. I love fighting in the US, but I've actually really liked fighting in the UK because we've made a lot of friends there, and we've been welcomed with open arms there. So it feels like to me, New Zealand, Samoa, the US, and the UK is like a home to me.
Yeah.
Or for me.
Yeah, you always seem to be so well received over in the UK. I think that's because you come across, obviously, like you don't make any excuses. Obviously, you had two defeats in the UK, but obviously you don't make excuses. You just come dust yourself off and you go again. We touched on Hughie Fury a little bit there, and obviously you had that fight in Manchester, but you seem to be quite close to Tyson Fury. You seem to be one of the only two heavyweights that never seem to slag each other off, and it seems to be quite a mutual respect. How has that relationship sort of developed, and how are you so close with him? We've seen you party and stuff like that, and how's that about?
So I think it was back in when Twitter had a thing called Periscope, and we used to communicate off social media, and we just every time he'll jump on, I'll jump on and support him, and he'll do the same to me. And I guess the first time I actually ever got to meet Tyson Fury was when he was going through his hard times, and I met him at the press conference with Hughie Fury, and then that's from there we just a great friendship grew, and I'm grateful that he always makes time for me. I was able to get him involved in the lockdown videos that I did do with him. And he's the type of person similar to me. We just like to have fun, enjoy life, but also work hard.
Yeah. How do you see the trilogy going with Deontay Wilder if, in fact, it happens? I know he's gone very quiet since what happened, but how do you see that panning out? Do you see another victory for Fury? Do you think he'll come back stronger, Wilder? How do you think that pans out?
Hey, Wilder's a person who's very proud, and I guess he'll make the right adjustments and come back with a better game plan. But ultimately, I see Fury taking him for the third time. I think Fury demonstrated in the first fight that he could box him, and I thought he won the first fight. The second fight, he showed that he could fight him. And then the third fight, I think he'll come in with a lot more confidence from the first two performances. And it'll probably be a similar result.
Yeah. It's obviously everyone's sort of getting on the back of Wilder at the minute, but I think people forget, his knockout ratio was unreal. It doesn't matter who they put him in there with. He got rid of them, everyone obviously, apart from Tyson. So I think, you shouldn't be quick to write. Nobody should be writing him off at all for a third.
No one should be writing off Wilder at all. I mean, just because Fury beat him the way he did doesn't mean a lot of others can.
Yeah.
And you're right. He's knocked out a lot of people, so I don't think you can ever write someone like that off.
With your fight with Dillian, when you came over and had that experience of free, you obviously had Dillian out on his feet right late in the fight. Do you think, is that another fight you want to revisit? Because obviously now that not that he's vulnerable to it, but you can hurt him, you can put him down, and is that a rematch you want to really go after as you're going through?
A rematch with Whyte is what I've been chasing ever since the loss to Whyte. Yeah. I know he's had many fights since then, and he's fought everyone else and called everyone else out, but he's yet to call me out. And that's the fight that I really want. I mean, I know what I can do. If we had a rematch, no headbutts, and probably a better referee, then it could probably end in a different result. And I back myself 100% no matter what, and no matter who I fight. Yeah,
I think in that fight, obviously, what was the sort of big difference between that fight and the Joshua fight? Because you seem to have obviously a lot more success in the Dillian fight. Was it a clash of styles? Did the styles gel just a little bit better? What was it in that?
I mean, the Joshua fight, no excuses. He won, boxed really well, but also the ref played a little bit of a part in sort of holding up the action when we got in close. With the Dillian fight, I wasn't wanting to move as much. I wanted to throw more punches and be more active, which I was doing. And if you watch the first 2 rounds, I was actually just boxing his head off until the head clash.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, it is what it is. That's why I really want a rematch. So hopefully, when he sees this video and many other videos that I've done to call him out, hopefully he can accept that after. I know he's got a rematch clause with Povetkin, so whatever happens there, I'll be waiting, willing and ready.
There might be something that happens now because of this loss, because obviously I think the WBC have said that mandatory is now valid for up to a year, so that pushes him back further even if he wins the rematch. So he's going to have time now, if he beats Povetkin in the rematch, to say, what am I going to do in the meantime? And he's not one that doesn't really turn down challenges. I mean, not many people would say, you know, go on, I'll fight Povetkin while I wait, and you know, obviously yourself and things like that. You know, so that might be something that comes about. How obviously you've been linked with fighting Derek Chisora as well, and I know he's got a big fight with Usyk, you know, coming up, depending on when crowds come back in. How do you see that fight going and Usyk stepping up to heavyweight? Do you think he'll be able to carry his power through, or the skill set will be able to, you know, gel right?
I think that's a very interesting fight because we're not sure how he'll. You know, we've seen it in one heavyweight fight. It wasn't the most impressive of the many fights he's had. So everyone's still interested to see if he's actually, you know, settled into the heavyweight division. And I think I'm very interested to see that. Chisora, I was planning on fighting him. I think we had a date locked in. Due to a spider bite, I had to pull out of the fight. But I tried to reschedule it, and he didn't want to reschedule. I think he spent a lot of money in camp, and he wanted to get a fight, so he ended up fighting David Price. But if the opportunity came to fight him, I'll take it in a heartbeat. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's quite a fan-friendly fight, that, because obviously you know what Chisora brings. He's all action from start to finish, and he's in really good condition now. He's fighting with David Higgins, so he's never really in a dull fight. And obviously yourself, when you showed in the Dillian fight, you know, you come, you throw punches, you know, I
think it'll be an exciting fight for us two, myself and Chisora.
Yeah, that's a great card. That if you could put you two together on that, or even like you said with Dillian when he gets back to this spider bite. How serious was it then? Because I know obviously Australia, New Zealand, you know, you have some of these creatures about and stuff like that. How serious was it? Was it you know, was it a poisonous spider? I've not first have heard of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I left New Zealand in good shape, but I left New Zealand with a hole in my leg, a mysterious hole. Didn't know where it came from. So probably 3 or 4 weeks into camp, my body started descending. The energy started, you know, being zapped, and I started feeling real lethargic. Couldn't really move. You know, I started off sparring 10 rounds the first 2 weeks, and then I couldn't even complete 2 rounds. So we went and saw the doctor in the US, and he said to us there was a spider bite from New Zealand. So I don't know where he, you know, but so he pulled me out of the fight. He said I can't train, which means I can't fight, which means my health is at risk.
Yeah.
And I begged him, please, doc, can you do anything to fix me? But he couldn't.
How long did that put you out of action for? Did you say just don't train, don't do anything? How long did that set you back?
It took me a while to recover from that bite. I mean, I got pulled out of the fight, and then we flew back to New Zealand, and I was still feeling the effects of the bite for the remainder of that year.
Wow.
So it's quite tragic, but these things happen in life, and you just gotta, you know, take it on the chin, bounce back.
What's your plans moving forward? Is there any talks of any particular fights that are lined up, providing obviously things sort of open back up? I think Matchroom put something out that I think they were looking at doing something in New Zealand. Is that something that obviously I would assume that you're going to be headlining or taking part in? Have you any opponents or anything that lined up for when, you know, things start opening up or getting back to somewhat normal?
We have plans in place to fight here in New Zealand, hopefully in December. It's been talked about, you know, a fight with myself and a fellow Kiwi named Junior Far, who's undefeated, ranked number 6 or 7 in WBO. And it's a fight that I think will be very good here in New Zealand. It will help me keep my ranking. But I think it'll be a great fight. But the only thing we're waiting on is their team to sign the contract. You know, we've given them what they've asked for, which is crazy money, considering he's only made, I don't know how much he's made in his career, but he's asked for $500,000. We've agreed to it. Now they're talking about gloves and wraps and all the minor things that you can discuss after the contract's signed. So I think it's a sort of level that he hasn't been to, Junior Fire and his team. I think Ludabella's involved and he's very experienced, but just the team here in New Zealand sort of holding it up. But David Higgins is very close to locking in that deal. He's been working very hard behind the scenes with Eddie and with Matchroom.
Yeah, David Higgins has been a big part of your career. How long have you been signed to him, and how did you meet him and, you know, that relationship develop? Because I know in the build-up to the Joshua fight, he was very vocal in getting you that fight and played. I was really enjoying it. I was watching thinking these two they're really trying to push all the right buttons to get this fight made. And he seemed to do everything right, and, you know, all the stars sort of aligned for you to get the fight. How did that relationship come about?
As soon as I finished my amateur career, turning professional, I decided to look for a promotional team He was established here in New Zealand. He was the main one. Still is the main one now. And we signed a 6-year contract, and the rest is history. But he's very smart, and I trust him to negotiate on my behalf, which he's done very well. And he's he's put on some good fights here in New Zealand. He's probably the reason why I've made it this far in my boxing career.
Yeah. No, I'm going to say it comes across. Obviously, I've seen some extended interviews he's done with other platforms. Not had him on this one yet, but he seems really an intelligent bloke who's switched on, and he's obviously looking out for your best interests as well with getting you the fights that obviously he has. So that's good. Do you find that in negotiations there's a lot of obviously, like you mentioned there, this gentleman's been offered $500,000. Do you find that a lot of fighters will try and stall negotiations by mentioning things like hand wraps or who gets announced second and all the sort of nitty gritty bits? Does that happen a lot in negotiations where fighters put things on?
It happens a lot. I guess for fighters, if you're keen to fight, it doesn't really matter, right? Just sign a contract and get it done.
Yeah. Broke up a bit there.
No, when you're just holding on.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just want to say thank you very much for giving us some time this morning, at some point. And obviously, I appreciate your delay yesterday. I hope everything's all right and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Hey, thanks for having me on. And don't worry, we'll do, once we lock in the fight, we'll do a live on Instagram.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Drop me a follow on Instagram, MJ Boxing.
I will.
Drop me a boxing. And I'll get this up on YouTube a bit later on, and I'll share it and stuff like that. If you can repost it, that, it'd mean a lot to us.
I will do, brother.
Right. Thank you very much. Cheers. See you later.
Have a good night. Have a good day. See you, brother.
You too. Bye-bye.